got an event to go to, and I'm dressed. I'm ready to go. Sometimes I'm even sitting in the car, and yet somehow we still end up getting there late. Who's to blame? I ain't pointing no elbows, but
Well, how is it that we have an event to go to and somebody doesn't even know we have an event to go to? Who's that?
I don't know who you're talking about right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, who's to blame in this situation? Is it my fault that we late? Or is it your fault because you ain't even know we had to go?
I don't know. We probably got to toss that one to our audience here. But have you ever been in that cycle of who's to blame and now you pointing elbows because you don't want to point fingers because you know the whole saying, like, you point one finger at them, you got the other three pointed back at you. So yeah, you just throw the elbow up there.
Like that.
Even the chop hand. But again, like, we've all been there. Like, sometimes it's over the smallest of things, and sometimes it's something that's major. And again, like, you just looking for someone to blame, and sometimes, well, all the time actually, accountability has to start with you. Like, you got to point at yourself and kind of work through some things. And the reality is, like, if you're pointing at yourself and take accountability, maybe it can help you get over the hump. And maybe you can look at that calendar a little more often so that you know what's going on and you know when you have an event. And I'm hearing crickets right now.
Yeah. Anyway, my name is Bleesy.
And I'm Al.
And here Forever I Do, y'all, we teach you how to brag.
Build relationships.
According to God. Yes. Now look. You use the word that I don't like sometimes.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Favorite words.
Accountability. Like, I hear accountability a lot. But as we're talking about the blame game, it's important that you learn what your role was in whatever it is that's going on. Like, it could be, I didn't put my outfit out last night. I didn't realize that my pants needed to be ironed. Or it could be, well, I didn't know we had to be there at 3 o'clock. You know, we both own something in that situation.
Yeah. And again, like, it always starts with you. Like, at the end of the day, you can't change the other person in the relationship, but you can change yourself. You can't change your actions. And what we want to do is we want to run through some scenarios for you. Some that you may have encountered before, some that maybe you haven't, but just to get your opinion on who's to blame and what could have been done differently. And what we find is when you run through these scenarios and you start talking about what could have been done differently, that light bulb clicks or goes off in your own head. You be like, maybe I could have done something differently in this situation. It gives you a little bit different perspective when you're looking from the outside in rather than the inside out.
Yeah. So we're going to be using our workbooks here, our his and her workbooks. And we're going to be doing this exercise. I really have enjoying these exercises and how it has facilitated conversations.
So the whole purpose of this will be how to avoid the blame game. Again, it's a game that you really don't want to play in your relationship. There's a whole bunch of other games to play, but this one will kind of burn things down quicker than Taboo. Like, Taboo starts some fights, but the blame game started even more fights. So what we want to do is work through these scenarios, and the whole purpose of this is to help you build accountability. How? By taking responsibility, again, for your own actions. We're going to go through a couple of scenarios, and where the finger generally gets pointed at your spouse, we want to know what you think and how the finger may be pointed in a different direction again. So, you want to read the first one?
Sure.
And we kind of bounce back and forth.
All right. It's Valentine's Day. Mary has prepared a special meal for Dan, all of his favorite foods. She also made him a special Valentine. Dan, however, didn't get Mary anything. After dinner, Dan thanks Mary for the food and slumps into the chair in front of the television. Mary, feeling hurt, leaves the dirty dishes in the sink and goes into the bedroom and cries. Dan realizes just what happened, follows her into the bedroom, and the two accuse each other of being insensitive. Who is at fault?
Yes. So who's to blame in this situation? If you think it's Dan, like, throw it in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think it's Murray, throw it in the chat. And also, we want to hear from you, like any additional comments, like about the whole scenario of what you think like could have been done differently.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing that jumps out at me is there was an expectation that was never communicated. Because why in the world is Murray doing all this stuff, preparing a special meal with all his favorite foods, got a special Valentine, and he walk in with nothing? Like, something's going on there. Like, something just doesn't seem to be tracking. Like, it's like Dan thought we're not celebrating Valentine's Day, and Murray going all out, and it's like, what in the world is going on here? Like,
I mean, that could have been the scenario or the case that, you know, it has to be an unspoken expectation, because there's no way in the world I'm cooking this big old nice fancy dinner and you don't come in with at least flowers for the table to set the table or something along those lines. But Mary was probably trying to surprise him, so I can understand that feeling of wanting to surprise your spouse and do something nice for them. But I think that's great, but I think where Mary went wrong is having the expectation that he was going to do something in return. So she should have just did it like, you know, I'm just going to pamper my boo, I'm going to take care of him, and left it at that. Not, I'm going to get something in return. However, Dan going to slump in the chair is a problem.
Yeah. So I will agree. Like, I didn't think of it from the surprise aspect of her maybe trying to surprise him. But if that is the case, he definitely should have did more than just going to hop in the chair and watch the game and slump down. There should have been some kind of thank you, appreciation,
help wash
hug,
the dishes,
or like not even help wash the dishes, take care of the dishes, because you didn't know it was a surprise, but you can at least acknowledge that it was and say thank you. And even if it wasn't a surprise, like slumping in the chair after all of that stuff, like still isn't enough to show some kind of appreciation as if it was just a regular dinner, because he had to know, like, by the special meal and whatever this special Valentine. Maybe the special meal wouldn't have keyed it off, but the addition of whatever this special Valentine was, like, he should have known, like, oh, I missed something, and at least said it and again shown that verbal appreciation and physical appreciation, whatever it is that he could have done in the moment. Not try to run out the house and buy something, because then that would have really been wrong too. But in this one, the fact that it was dirty dishes in the sink and she was even going to wash them, like, it was just a whole lot going on here. Like, again, a lot of things that weren't being spoken. And I think, like, from the jump, like, something should have been communicated. Like, what we're going to do for Valentine's Day, something should have been talked about. And again, if it was a surprise, it was a surprise. And if it was a surprise, he could have shown some appreciation. But she still didn't take the opportunity to speak up, even after he just messed everything up and just went and slept in the chair. She still collect yourself at some point. You gotta speak up. You gotta, like, the greatest expectation that has a chance of going unmet is the one that was never spoken. And even after the Valentine's thing, she still didn't even speak after that and say anything. She just goes in the room and cry. So he still don't know what's going on. Now, Dan really messed up to me at the end. Like, I don't know how she could have been being insensitive. I don't know, like...
because how can you be upset that I didn't do anything?
Okay, maybe
but
this
no. Dan,
that was wild. Yeah, that part was wild. Like, I do think Dan was to blame for this one. Now, I do think that Murray has some responsibility in it, though. And it goes back to, like, again, like, we both play a role in whatever the outcome is. And how I would handle it, again, like, at least if I jacked up on not bringing anything in the house, like, I'm at least going to be like, thank you, like washing the dishes and taking care of the kitchen or whatever, and let you slump down in the chair,
Mm-hmm.
and again, like I didn't bring anything, but I still got these hands, and like, or it was like massage or something, some kind of thank you to show some kind of appreciation for the meal.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna slump down in the chair. Like, I guess maybe I've been married too long, and I'm not crazy too. Like, that's just that part was wild.
Yeah. I might have went to the bedroom and cried, but I would have got myself together and came back out and told you. But yeah.
But I think that would have been kind of a misstep too, because if she's in there crying and he stayed out there, if she'd have come back out that room, like it'd have been even.
Blazing.
Yeah.
All right.
So this next one.
Mm-hmm.
Erin and Kim are having dinner with another couple. During the casual conversation, Kim jokingly makes fun of Erin's shirt. It must have been a Steelers shirt, but I don't.
Well, that's not making fun. That's just telling the truth.
But Kim jokingly makes fun of Erin's shirt. He laughs at first, but soon he becomes withdrawn, and the conversation becomes noticeably strained. When they get home, both of them accuse each other of ruining the evening. Who is at fault?
This one's hard.
Yeah, this one's a little different.
This one's hard because I love a good banter. Like, I love a good back and forth. I poke, if you know me, I poke fun at everybody. So sometimes I do have to acknowledge that not everybody knows my personality. But here,
they're in a relationship.
Here, Aaron knows how Kim is. So I feel like he shouldn't have took it personally. And I guess it could have been like if they knew the other couple as well. If they're like friends, So if they're like her friends, and they're trying to get all together, then maybe it'd be a little bit awkward to have my spouse like making fun of me. But I don't know.
So like, I don't know. I guess I'm a little different. And like I don't getting all into the feelings. If you laugh at first, like I don't get like all of a sudden getting into your feelings and just completely shutting down. To me, like again, like it's not in the scenario, but I would think like it's something else going on. Like maybe they you ever had those moments where you going somewhere and you get into it before you leave the house, and you get into it when you're in the car, and now you got to put on face when you go out to meet with your friends. To me, this sounds like one of those scenarios. Like they got into it the whole way there, and now they get into the restaurant, and now when Kim makes a joke about him, he feeling some kind of way, even though he laughed initially, because he remembers now, like, we just were arguing about all this stuff on the way here, and now you want to say, I tried to save face, but now you want to joke my shirt. It just seemed like, it's something like beneath the surface here, because like, again, like if they're in a relationship, I would think this ain't the first time that she did it, and why you getting in your feelings, and if again, you're getting in your feelings, like, that's where communication got to come in. Don't just shut down. Are you going to have that
communication at the table?
You don't have to. Get up, go to the restroom, like, or text or something, or you go to the restroom and then send her a text and or something, and like, you gotta find a way to communicate.
To say something.
Yeah, so that you can bring the temperature back down, so that you're both not ruining your whole evening. Yeah. And now you both withdrawn, and the other couple, they probably looking like, can't wait to get out of here. Like, who wants to be in that kind of scenario? Nobody wants to go double date and the other couple obviously like in the heat or something. Like you don't want to be like, no, you want to get out there too now. Yeah. And then again, when they get home, like the conversation got to start with where things went wrong, and again, taking responsibility for when you made the joke about my shirt, I felt this kind of way, and her stating her intention. I always joke that way. I apologize, like, because if the other person's feelings were hurt, you still owe them an apology. Yeah. And then going from there, because it also seems like it needs to be some boundary conversations too. Like I'm good with you joking me in the house, but not when we out in public with other couples or other people and things like that. To kind of set the record straight. At least again, that's how I feel like I would have handled it.
Yeah. Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. But again, like I feel like I would have sent you a text or do a little bump or something like, again, so we know like
I feel like
this went a little bit too far. But not just sit there and shut down. Like, and then again, like if we're gonna have a conversation, it has to start with how you feel and why you feel that way. and not immediately go to, you ruined the whole night. No, you ruined the whole night, because nothing will get solved again. When you start pointing fingers, you're not resolving anything. And the end goal, always in any conflict, is to reconcile so you can walk together in agreement.
This last one, I should put our names in it.
We can do that.
But it wouldn't be this way. Okay, on a whim, Gleesy buys a new high-def TV on sale. She and Elle had been talking about getting one, but they decided to wait another year. Gleesy, however, felt the bargain was too good to pass up and also thought that it would be a nice surprise for Elle. It wasn't. All Elle could think about was how they were saving money for plane tickets to go see his family for Christmas. Gleesy and Elle blamed each other for being too controlling over the money. Who is at fault?
And this one is big mainly because it's over money.
Yeah.
Again, like, you've probably heard like money or financial reasons are a big reason for divorce. And again, it's not typically due to a lack of it. It's not, of course, like due to having too much of it. It's usually over the communication about, how it's being spent. And this sounds like a big no on the communication piece. Like, it starts off with on a whim.
Yeah.
So that means like they just decided on their own. In this case, since Gleesy put herself in it, Gleesy decided on her own without any communication on a whim, I'm just gonna go do this. And then seems like it was an attempt to validate it.
Because it was on sale.
Yeah, because it was on sale and it was too good to pass up. But it also says that the couple talked about getting one, but they decided to wait another year. So that means they came to an agreement together, and now the other spouse decided to break that agreement because something was on sale. That's a huge no-no. And it's not just even on finances. If you come to an agreement, that means you're walking together. The minute you decide to do something differently on a whim and go in the opposite direction, you're breaking that agreement.
Yeah.
And you're breaking the trust with your spouse.
And to further take it, it said they were saving that money for plane tickets.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough too. It's like, oh, you don't want to go see my family because you done spent the money now, so what we going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, so again, like, I think this one is probably a little easier to, like, again, you input it yourself in the place of the person that brought the TV, and I would immediately kind of shift to, it sounds like this was all leaning towards their fault because the plan was in place. Mm-hmm. They communicated the plan, both of them together. They came to an agreement. They thought they were walking in lockstep, and then on a whim, a completely different decision was made. Now, I think it could have been kind of mitigated had, like, in this scenario, Gleesy just called and said, hey, like, I'm at Best Buy. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm going to be like, well, why are you at Best Buy? We said we're not getting TV. Anyway, I'm at Best Buy.
That's exactly what you would say.
The TV is on sale. It's marked down 50%. I think we should get it. Mm-hmm. And that way that gives the other person an opportunity to either say, yay, okay, if it's that much, we can figure something out for the plane tickets, or no, because then we won't have the money for the plane tickets. Yeah. And maybe that person just forgot because they the spontaneous type and they just on a whim made a decision, and now they get brought back down to earth in reality. Oh, that's right, we were supposed to be buying those tickets. And maybe then now they walk out. They need to kind of have a step back because there's nobody being controlling here. Mm-hmm. You had an agreement in place. Yep. So the agreement is exactly that. Like, again, when you're trying to build trust in a relationship and you give your word to that other person, like, you have to keep your word. Right. And if you don't, then you owe them again an apology in addition to the explanation, and not pointing a finger and saying somebody's being controlling, because obviously it wasn't controlling when you came to the agreement of what you would do together. Yeah. Like, that's not controlling. Yeah. That's partnership. That's working as a team.
That was your plan.
All those things.
Yeah, that was the plan. And It was your job to help execute that plan, and you didn't execute it.
Yeah.
So I totally see how Carl was wrong, because Gleesy wasn't going to be wrong. It was Carl.
But Gleesy put herself in the place of Carl just to keep any confusion out. So again, like, we asked you, who do you think was at blame? And what would you have done differently?
Yeah.
And have you been in these kind of scenarios before? Again, like, we wanted to read these because it's easier to take that step back and kind of gain some perspective and have that 1,000-foot view than when it's a generic scenario, rather than when it's you and you're in the heat of the moment and you don't really want to take that step back because you feel like you're going to lose something. And again, the only way to win in marriage is when you both agree to walk together in agreement, whatever that agreement is.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you guys in our next video.
Brag on it.